Tug lightly on this bowl of mine. Well, my screen has seen some better times. Well, my buddy poked a hole, now my weed falls deep inside. Please tug lightly on this bowl of mine.
So what are you doing? Nothing. Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
Legacy 420 has medicinal and recreational products down to a science, literally. With 2 biochemists on staff and a chief scientific advisor, every product is tested in the Legacy 420 laboratory. Legacy 420, Tyendinaga. Open 9 to 9 every day. Visit legacy420.com.
You like music, you like weed, well, we gonna be good friends indeed. This is how much I like more than smoking trees. They'll make you dance the do-si-do and teach you how the chiba grows. Smoke a bowl on the 420 radio show.
Yes, she is. But she's happy because we got
on Lifestyle Radio.
And yes, it is. This is Lifestyle Radio, and you are listening to us. Hello. How are you?
Hello.
Hello. So you know what? I'm very excited today. I'm very excited today because I didn't open up the goddamn Facebook page. How many days, Darcy?
5 years, 6 months, 21 days.
For 5 years, 6 months, 21 days, these gentlemen have been waiting.
I had a dream.
To be, yeah, they have been waiting to be what we would call a LP, a licensed producer here in Cannabis land. So congratulations to Truro. What is it now? Truro Cannabis?
Truro Cannabis Company.
Truro Cannabis Co.
There you go. So we'll be following their journey because I'm not afraid to say it. I admire these guys. You can say whatever you want, but this is a patient-run producer that is going to help so many people. So.
Well, how many years has it been, Darcy, since the company led the series of meetings between Halifax and Truro in regard to patient needs as far as licensed producers went?
5 years.
Actually, that started 4 years in, to be exact. Those were the meetings. Those were the open meetings we had between Halifax and Truro. We had 2 of them in Halifax and 1 of them in Truro, held at the NSCC for patients to speak their voice and let it be heard, because that was the one thing in this industry that was lacking is patients. People actually listen to patients speaking their voice. And then so long after, not too shortly after we did these, all the other producers that were already licensed started holding meetings and starting to listen to their patients a little bit,
doing surveys and
but then it fell on deaf ears again, and look where patients are again. Happen to use dispensaries, which are wonderful things. So
the announcement that was put out last week about concentrates and edibles and stuff like that, it said the same thing as the first announcement did. How many years ago? I mean, I don't mean like the amounts and stuff were different, obviously, but I mean what they said was this is to protect the children, yada 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 yada. It's the same tone right through. It didn't really waver, but what's wavered is the fact that they're saying that they've taken all this information from professional organizations and come up with this plan, but they didn't include us, did they?
They never include patients.
No, they don't want to listen to the patients. Patients don't have any money. So why do you bother listening to the people that don't have any money when you can listen to the people that have lots of money? Right? Because for some reason they think the people without money don't vote.
So before you finish that thought, I want to give the guys to. Okay, sorry. I thought so. We're good at this. I want to give Darcy and Lenny is here as well today because we just can't get rid of him. We can't get rid of him now. So I'm going to give you a new nickname, Lenny. You ready for it? Your nickname on the show?
Yeah.
The Pharmacist.
I think I can live with that one.
It's way better than some of the ones that were coming to my mind.
Yeah, I can live with that.
Chief Science Officer.
That's horrible.
What was that, Deb?
Your creativity continually blows me away, Al.
That's the mushrooms, Debbie.
but microdosing, right, Al?
Yeah. Oh, I had about 0.2 today. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. A friend of mine. Wink, 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 wink.
The pharmacist.
No, it's just not. It's not just the pharmacist. It's Lenny, the pharmacist.
Lenny, the pharmacist.
Actually,
yes.
I kind of dig that.
Yeah.
Now watch when he goes to work on Monday. He's gonna get a new smock. It's gonna say Lenny. This is Lenny, the pharmacist.
Now I'm trying to think of. In the comic book world, would he be the hero or the supervillain?
The green supervillain.
The villain,
Phased with that, couldn't you?
Hey, get that printed on your hoodie, Lenny, on your arm. The Pharmacist.
The Pharmacist.
I think Chief Science Officer is better.
I actually, I hate that title, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
Captain Kirk.
What's up, Doc?
Actually, Spock.
There you go,
Spock.
Yeah.
Spock.
Alrighty. So let's talk about Truro, shall we?
Sure.
What do you want to talk about, Truro? Well,
it's a nice place.
It's a fair-sized town with streets and houses and businesses. Anything else you'd like to know, Al?
Yeah, well,
there's now a new LP with a cultivation license in Truro.
Wow. Let's talk about them, maybe.
What are them going to do?
Okay, let's. How many live radio shows on the internet have access to this kind of thing? I don't think anybody. But so I can ask questions that I want to ask. What is, without divulging anything you can't, what is the next process for you guys? Because usually we just hear this company got a license, woohoo! Now they can grow pot. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no. Basically, we can grow pot, but no. For us, it's not to complicate it too much or make it too boring. We actually have a phase 1 and a phase 2, and our main issue is phase 1 is what was approved. But our actual phase 2 is actually now complete because unfortunately we waited so long to get our license. So the whole
5 years, how many days again?
Darcy knows.
5 years, 6 months, and 21 days.
Yeah. So no, for Truro, like I say, I don't want to say too much because I think you're going to have our CEO on in the next week or two.
Yep.
So I don't want to steal all his thunder, but no, we'll get our phase 2.
He just got the shut the fuck up email.
No. I know you guys.
He was gonna come on, but he said he can't talk.
Oh no, he's his phone's blowing up tonight, so he's not gonna go. You won't get a hold of him for 2 days.
Yeah, no, we'll have him on for sure. We'll have the whole gang on.
No, but to be fair, I think you'll see us get phase 2 amended, and then we'll probably start growing. Then once we get 2 clean grows, we go after our sales license. And at the same time, processing license.
But in the interim, now you're allowed to
be
an LP.
Plants, genetics start growing as of Monday, I guess, my understanding.
You could ship in other product from other LPs and actually start selling as well?
No.
We could, but that's not how we're going to go about it.
Okay.
Well, you could, but you can only sell it to other LPs at this point, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
We could grow product and sell to other LPs. Yes.
Yes. While waiting for your sales license.
while we're waiting for our sales
I
license.
want to politically correct one thing there, Lenny.
What's that?
You don't have to do the 2 clean grows anymore. You grow one. You only have to do one now.
Oh,
somebody just got a ding.
Well, it wasn't me. Anyway.
Wasn't me.
Okay, who's rolling?
wasn't me.
Somebody's rolling. Dabbing, rolling. Something's going on.
So, well, anyway, Turo's got their cultivation license. We're pretty proud. And I assume you'll see an official. I know Al's member of the press, and don't take this as an insult, Al. But there'll be an official, probably press release early next week, I'm sure. So
an insult.
This is the informal press release tonight.
Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to be drinking and smoking if you're doing a press release.
What are you drinking, Lenny?
I'll do a shout out for Tatamagouche North Shore beer.
Oh, is it good?
Yeah, I got a couple growlers for Father's Day.
Oh, bonus.
And do they do medical, not medical, do they do cannabis beer out there? Is there anybody doing cannabis beer or alcohol or getting to that point?
I'm sure after October 17th, probably, but not to my knowledge.
I know
really
not from an actual brewery perspective. I know some people that are doing it themselves.
Shh, don't tell on me.
Were you here with us when we had the wine guys on, Marcel? I think that was before you. I think it was Amy that was with me.
Is that the BC guys?
You know what? I can't remember where they are. Alberta. I think
Lyft
they were in Alberta.
Ago, it's tasty.
This was I want to say 7 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and I believe that they were out in Alberta. I can't remember, but it's the guys who came up with the hemp vodka. Now there's probably 50 of them now, but you know.
Yeah.
I know I had at Lyft the gentleman that had the non-alcoholic wine with the wine was good anyway. We'll see when there's actually cannabis in it.
But he swears that there'll be no flavor to that cannabis in that wine. It'll be what the wine tastes like. So I'd like to see that myself.
So what's the point? I guess I want to taste the cannabis. Wouldn't you want to?
Me, no.
No?
No.
He doesn't like the taste of cannabis, though.
I don't like the taste.
That was the voice of reason, Debbie. I said that
was that, Lenny?
Oh, no, just to me. If I just want to drink wine, I'll just drink wine. But
my problem with it is most times, depending on how it's done, especially when you're doing alcohol, you're leaching out chlorophyll.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not a flavor that I can tolerate at all.
We used to make...
I know what you mean, but...
Yeah.
We used to make a tincture that was just a vodka and then cram the plant into the vodka and let it sit for 6 months in the freezer and flip it over every day kind of thing. Yeah. And, I mean, it kicked your fucking ass. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I took some Smirnoff, Mickey a Smirnoff, and just crammed Bud into the bottle and then poured whatever I could get back in, drank the rest, and then we left it in the fridge for, till Christmas. Kelly and I cracked it open, and, oh boy, I was like, let's dance.
Let's dance.
But I don't, here's the thing, though. I don't know if I was drunk or stoned.
See, that's always been my issue with that. If you're doing that type of thing with alcohol, are you getting drunk, or are you getting high, or are you getting a combination of both? And is that really a good thing?
Well, I understand from someone I met years ago who'd made cannabis-infused wine that it tends to have more... The effects are more attributed to the cannabis than the alcohol. That people who normally kicked off and wanted to stir up trouble, maybe start a fight, were just mellowed and chilled on the couch and there were no problems.
Huh.
Well, I had at one point back probably around Christmas, someone had some cannabis tincture and just throw a few drops just in my beer. And I'll tell you, 2 beer felt like a 8-pack.
Now, I had a friend here one night that was drinking probably just a bit too much to the point where he was staggering and slurring his words, and I gave him a salty chocolate ball. And an hour later, he was walking perfectly fine and talking completely normal. You wouldn't even know he was drunk. And I still sent him home in a cab.
I don't remember the last time I was drunk.
I could probably say it's right now for me.
This is a cannabis show, though.
Definitely illegally.
Well, welcome to the alcohol edition.
Cannabis too, though.
Oh
Yeah,
no, I had some cannabis. I had a little bit of wedding cake, and
I understand the whole market. Like, I mean, I really our sponsor Legacy 420. They have their own pop that they have an infused pop line, and we happen to have some that somebody makes and brought over for us to try at the lounge. What I don't even know what to call it anymore. Gunjanistas. And if I was, I wasn't too crazy about the cannabis wine, but what I would be crazy about is an infused pop with some ice and some scotch in it or something. I mean, that would probably be yummier than having to spend $60 on a...
That's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard.
What?
Scotch with pop.
I don't mean... I meant rye, but,
Okay. I mean, geez, man.
And I'm going to do a Darcy. I was just sitting here doing the math. I know for a fact it's been 20 years, 5 months, and 26 days since I would have been drunk. That's when I reacted to the MS interferons that I was prescribed, and subsequently my digestive system became trashed enough that I couldn't handle alcohol.
Well, that would be a good thing, wouldn't it? In that case,
What? That she had her system destroyed? You're an ass.
no, she's not. She's not gonna die of alcoholism.
Oh, that's yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
no, I've got
drinking.
I've gotten to the point I can't even have a couple of mouthfuls of a cooler, or I'll be ready to hurl.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I can still do that.
Oh no, you're not a cheap date. I've seen you smoke pot.
What gets me is people out there that are on antidepressants and mood disorder medication, and then you see them out in the bar and it's like they're just trash, and it's like, you're not supposed to drink on that shit. And he's like, oh, I know, but it's fun. You know that guy?
It's fun now.
You know that guy? I know that guy. I know that guy.
There's lots of those people, unfortunately.
Lenny.
Yes, Lenny. You tell them the dangers, Lenny, of doing that.
Yeah. Come on. Use your degree.
What's that?
Lenny's a pharmacist.
Yes, pharmacist. Put on your Lenny, the pharmacist hat.
Now you've got to go.
Do not drink alcohol with your prescription. Please listen.
Can you tell me why I can't have grapefruit juice with metformin?
Actually, you can with metformin, and that's not real.
It says
a lot of antibiotics. You should avoid it.
No, it's called. There's if you Google something called cytochrome P450.
No. It's the Lipitor that it says I can't have.
Yeah, atorvastatin. What dose you on?
20.
20. Yeah. What it is there's something called cytochrome P450. Now this is really boring, guys. I
need to get some tweeting bird sound effects.
It's an enzyme that breaks down a lot of your medications. So there's drugs out there, and actually foods like grapefruit juice that can inhibit that enzyme, and as a result, you get higher levels of that drug. You can't get rid of it, so you get too much, and then you're at higher risk of side effects.
Oh, okay. Now, here's another side effect. My arms are killing me. Would that be a side effect of Lipitor?
Oh man, we need a whole different podcast. I can talk about this stuff
you see, I haven't been over to Pharma Plus lately, and they want to do one of those sheet things with me, so I'll just do it with you.
Most likely, if you haven't gone back to the doc, have they done some blood work on you since you started that?
Oh God, yeah, I've been on it for 5 years. It's just getting. I've heard that I was on Crestor before, and I was getting
worse.
The pain was worse, but now it's gotten to the point where it's that bad again. Like I can barely lift my arms.
All right.
Right.
So if your liver's all good and they checked all your enzymes, it is what it is. So here's how you treat it. Go buy coenzyme Q10.
Write it down.
No, I'll listen to the show later.
You should be able to find 300 milligrams and take that 3 times a day and see what happens in the next couple months.
Is that a natural or a prescription?
Coenzyme Q10 is a supplement. It's actually in your body right now. It's part of your mitochondria.
Kind of like cannabis.
Cannabis technically is not, but an anandamide and 2-AG are.
Oh, yes, it is today.
It's fucking excellent.
Touche, sir. Touche.
Most days,
part
actually.
Of you too today, Lenny.
Yes.
What's that?
Yes.
I said it's part of you too today.
Lenny, you'll like this. Okay, when somebody asks me how much cannabis do I need in a day, as far as edibles go, I said if you can still walk and your shit smells like pot, you've had enough.
Awesome.
Yeah, when you can't walk anymore, you've had just too much.
Just a little bit too much, yeah.
So, Lenny.
Yes.
What are the dangers of using cannabis and alcohol together?
I don't think there's any true danger as far as like.
But the government, Health Canada, says we can't have them together.
Well, you guys.
So do the cops.
Anytime I've had, I think that they're also protecting themselves. But when you smoke pot and drink at the same time, do you not find you get more intoxicated from the alcohol?
No,
I did.
I find that I don't drink as much.
Well,
no, I drink more.
I do. When I do, I find it get worse. So I could see what they're saying, but is there any true danger as far as? I don't believe so. I get intoxicated way more, personally.
Do you? Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I tend to drink less.
Okay. I'm the opposite.
And I tend to smoke more.
Yeah. But I'm also.
I drink the more I smoke.
I also grew up. I'm a drinking family, so maybe I'm the other way around.
Yeah. Well, there's drinking in my family, so that's why I've kind of refrained. And I used to drink a lot. Let me
rephrase this. Is cannabis worse than prescription drugs, antidepressants, opiates, and things like that, and alcohol? It's not worse than those, that's for sure.
Oh.
So mixing alcohol with any drug, alcohol is a bad drug. Let's just call it a spade a spade.
Yeah, exactly.
But mix any two drugs together, and well, you get what you get.
Oh boy, I'm in big trouble then, because I'm smoking cannabis and more cannabis together.
I'm smoking this hash, and this is just like, wow.
It's nice.
So Darcy,
yes,
you've been quiet. Anybody from the Truro company on the listening? Do you know?
I heard dings there earlier. Somebody's talking about you.
Hey, I wonder if anybody's in our chat room. I should go look.
Oh, shit, I forgot. I'm sorry about that. I forgot about the chat room. I'm going there now.
Did you even put the post on Facebook that we had to show?
I'm doing that now.
Awesome.
Thanks for reminding me.
You're welcome.
Asshole.
I'll go to the chat room. You go there. Hey, dude. can't expect me to remember everything because
I think Marcel's been drinking a little bit too.
Oh, this is really good hash, but it's me and Joyful Stranger.
Joyful Stranger.
Well, in case there is some churro people out there listening, I know Drew is, by the way, but I got to say hi and go, woo!
Well, I'll tell you what. If there's anybody from the Truro Cannabis Company listening to the show, you come into the chat room, set your name to what your actual name is so I know who in the hell you are, and give a shout out, and Lenny will buy you lunch on Monday.
And I'll make sure you get a raise.
I'm not going to guarantee raises, but I'll guarantee that Lenny could buy them a lunch.
I could definitely probably buy a lunch.
If they give a shout out, but they got to do that, so.
I want
There.
I don't know.
I want lobster and scallop linguine from Frankagino's.
Aren't you a little bitch?
Darcy.
Thanks, Al.
Darcy, I don't
Marcel.
see you in the chat room.
I'm here chatting to you.
No. I said they got to come into the chat room
Oh, okay.
and do a shout out. And they can't be
Marcel, explain
Joyful
this to
Stranger or one of them weird ass names.
So, Marcel, here's Drew's dilemma. If he goes into the chat room, he can't hear any longer.
Why not?
I don't know. That's just what he's telling me. I'm not a techie guy.
You have to restart the stream, and if you click on the little speaker, if it doesn't start on it when you come to the page on its own, if you click on the little speaker in the chat room, you will be able to hear the live stream right in the chat room. You don't have to turn the feed on in the player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Turn the sound on, dude.
There you go, Drew.
Turn the sound on, Drew. Get in here, Drew.
Yeah, come on, Drew.
Yeah, Drew.
And behave yourself, Drew, if you do get on.
God. Get off, Drew.
How'd that mystery thing treat you last night, Drew?
Hey, Drew, this could be a good lunch. I'm thinking, I don't know, Murphy's fish and chips for lunch.
You're making me hungry. Shut the fuck up, Drew.
I could settle for whole clams and fries from there.
I think Drew's getting chicken.
Salad Lenny.
If it's Drew, he's getting lunch from Boston Pizza.
I did get a text from the big CEO. You know who?
Oh, is he listening?
He can't even speak right now. He's so tired. I don't know if he's listening. I think he listens the next day sometimes.
Well, it'll be too late. He won't.
But he just said he can't get on tonight.
Yeah, I didn't expect him to be on tonight.
He's
not the night.
So let's listen to a song, guys.
Yeah, we should listen to a song.
Let's listen to a song, and then we'll be back. This is the 420 radio show. Come on in the chat room at 420radio.ca, or you can leave us a comment right in our Spreaker stream thingy player, whatever you want to call it. We'll be right back. This is Pitbull and Daddy Yankee, and I can't even pronounce the name because it's a Spanish song. So just listen to it. Bye-bye.
Legacy 420 has medicinal and recreational products down to a science. Literally. With 2 biochemists on staff and a chief scientific advisor, every product is tested in the Legacy 420 laboratory. Legacy 420, Tyendinaga. Open 9 to 9 every day. Visit legacy420.com.
Hey, this is Cheech. And this is Chong. And you're listening to Lifestyle Radio. What is it? Lifestyle Radio. Say it one more time. 420 Radio? Ooh.
Please hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
420radio.ca is a progressive internet radio station geared to the cannabis lifestyle, broadcasting 24/7 from our living rooms, kitchens, and home studios all around North America, with listeners around the world. We are always looking for like-minded DJs, talk hosts, and people to help out. If you have a podcast you're doing, and or want to throw it out on radio, or just enjoy playing music and want to get into radio, let's talk. Email info@420radio.ca for more info.
No lo trates, no.
Nati Natasha.
No me trates de engañar.
Mr. Worldwide, that's right.
Sé que tú tienes a otra.
Mami, no te pongas así conmigo. Dale, Yankee.
Contigo he sido real, fabricarme un caso es ilegal, ese chisme me lo fumo, tu opinión voy a quemar, no estoy hablando de guardia, pero tú eres el oficial, esperando porque a ninguna le hable, estoy en libertad y no le he dado cable, con el récord limpio soy culpable, hey, yeah. Yo vivo a mi manera, te doy tablas si me pide madera, me dicen colocando bandera, tú hablas como si me conocieras,
no lo trates, no.
Clarito y la hacemos bien rico. Cuentas claritas, amiguita. Me tienes loquito con esa sayita que es rica, amiguita. Mami, estás dura como la raspita. Tan caliente que tú salpicas. Aquí no hay mentiras, so baby, no me digas.
No lo trates, no. No me trates de engañar. Sé que tú tienes a otra. Y a mí me quieres para mí. Y eres de mi amor. Y me dice que eres sincero. Me pide por favor. Me promete el mundo entero. Sé cuál es mi valor. Y no quiero a un bandolero. Tengo un corazón. Y merezco el amor de un hombre real. Lista, estoy lista. Para gozar estoy lista. Pero dime, no lo trates, no. No me trates de engañar. Sé que tú tienes a otra. Y a mí me quieres para mí.
Yo no te engañé. Mamita, tú sabes lo que es.
Estás inventando pa' ver si confieso.
Yo no te engañé. Mamita, tú sabes lo que es.
Estás inventando pa' ver si confieso. Ey, ey, nati, 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 nati. Big boom, yeah. Sigi, dari, dari, dari. Da, di, ya, que. Hay una diferencia entre una flor y las hojas que la rodean. Y las hojas que la rodean. ¿Por qué otra si tú eres Special Edition?
All right, we're back, guys.
We're back.
What happened during the break?
He
I
got
heard
kicked out.
I heard an
My
echo.
phone kicked me out of Skype.
Oh, well, that was rude of him.
So if you lose me again, I'll come back in because I figured out how to get back in now.
Drew's getting lunch.
Is Drew in their chat room?
And he made his name Drewberry.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
We need booster juice.
Poor Drew. You don't have to take that shit, man. You only have to get stuff for Lenny and Brent.
I will be in there in a second.
I just want to make it perfectly clear that I've always asked Drew if he was kindly able to get me one. I've never sent them.
Way to suck up, Lenny.
I've never told him to go get me one or sent him one. Brent has not either.
No.
He's kindly asked.
We're very polite to Drew, and Drew, for the record, is awesome. He does a lot of different jobs around the facility. So
Yes, you definitely have him laughing now.
The facility?
So Drew's a member of the Churro Cannabis.
And he works for Nitrogen too.
Yes, that lovely company.
Yeah, he's kind of a busy guy.
I saw
And
your.
I like
your-
Drew, so maybe
I
I'll
saw
hire
your
Drew.
nitro tin booth at Lyft, and when
Yes.
I walked up, your sales guy attacked me, so I let him. And
Oh,
then-
listen, just before you go there, because we have a bit of delay between us talking and them listening, we have to clarify something.
Okay.
The pharmacist wasn't being completely truthful, I guess.
Oh God.
On what?
Well, according to Drewberry, you did send him for lunch once.
Not
Busted.
send, ask.
Well,
Send, I would always ask.
No, he says not true. Lenny sent me for lunch once.
I would like to know the details of this current event.
Carry on.
Because Lenny the pharmacist has actually several employees at his pharmacy, and he's never ever sent them anywhere.
No, ask people.
I may ask someone if they could possibly pick me up a copy, but never send. Big difference, Marcel. Big difference.
My dog has just
Not
come
me
over
saying it.
and thrown her bowl at me.
Drew says he wanted lunch and told me to go.
Oh God, here we go.
Must have been one of them days there, Mr. Pharmacist.
So
See,
Mr.
the dark side creeping out.
The Dark Side of the Pharmacy, starring Lenny.
I think we should just block Drewberry. No, we don't want Drewberry on.
He's not allowed to listen to the show anymore.
No, apparently not.
You can listen. You just can't come in the chat room and tell Marcel all the dirty secrets.
Oh, but now he's saying that Lenny was totally joking when he said it, right? So like, yeah, must not have been. Must have been just
he
a
just
big
sent me a
joke.
text. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, well,
What an
'cause
asshole.
He still wants that lunch Monday.
Yeah.
And it kind of deserves that he got here.
I don't know. We're not
Well-
on the air,
well-
'cause I'd say
welcome-
Drewberry's lucky he has a job right now.
Welcome to the Churro Cannabis Show.
Yeah, this
Come
is
and
now
listen.
Churro
Listen
this
to
is now
the
Churro
gossip.
Cannabis Radio.
This is the gossip radio of Churro Cannabis.
Yeah.
No,
You know what the best part? Know what the best part is? I'll wait till you get Brent on.
Yeah, you're gonna have a blast.
He
Oh.
might be reserved. He may be reserved.
It's going to be a big lunch, he said.
Yeah, you might want to get some cash ready for Monday.
Well,
the funny thing is Lenny may be paying for it, but Drew's going to pick it up.
Well, I just want to remind everybody that as of Monday, you're not going to be able to smoke cannabis on the property, buddies.
we have not been. I just want to make that perfectly clear.
We haven't been smoking cannabis on the property.
Oh, really?
Nope.
Oh, you have to go
I know,
off-site?
we've
Seriously?
invoked that for a while.
So
Yeah,
seriously,
we-
you have
no,
to go
seriously.
off-site?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh.
there's no other I don't know if I can say it, but I'm going to say it. There's no other cannabis allowed in the building.
Yeah, we've been doing that before the license, just so we're
Oh,
well
that's good.
prepared. Because we do have some medical cannabis users, and we decided just contamination and ethics, just keep it off site.
You're going to have to buy another piece of property next door.
They're building.
We already did, I think.
Yeah, they're building us a spot where we can go medicate.
Oh, well, that's
a
nice of
shelter,
them.
to be exact.
A shelter? What about the
Yes.
wintry winters?
That's
I'm gonna make sure
unfortunate.
they have it heated. So if you
Insulated
listen,
with
Matt, I
and
want
air
that
conditioning.
heated, Danny.
No, it's an easy fix. It's just a NACO trailer with a heat exchanger on it, and then you have hot and cold.
If any other employees would like to have anything discussed, just let us know and we can talk about it. And then you can go into work the next day and get in shit.
Yeah, and you could be be very responsible on the radio like Lenny and Darcy have been.
Yes. And come to the chat room, say what you want, and I'll just relay it for them.
So, Marcel, I just had a theory. So, I won't get too much into detail because maybe I am stepping over the line, but we have these giant quote-unquote heaters on order.
Yeah.
They're not doing nothing during the winter, so maybe they're going to heat the smoking area.
That would work.
That would work, actually. Oh, Drew left again. Oh, he's back.
He's playing on his phone.
He's probably on his way to Booster Juice.
No, he's probably thinking about the fact that, he's going to get a big lunch on Monday, but he's got to go get it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there probably will be there. Actually, shit, I can go to Halifax. I'm not even going to be there for lunch Monday.
Oh!
I see how it is. I just booked a flight too, man. Come on.
Yeah. No, I'm actually doing a public talk on alternative medicines, actually.
Oh, are you going to talk about cannabis, or are you going to talk about vitamins?
I'm kind of doing a generic talk in vitamins, but if somebody asks me about cannabis, I consider that. I actually hate the word alternative medicine, but that's what they asked me to talk on. So,
have you ever been told that you talk about drugs too much, Leonard? Sorry, the pharmacist.
No, because the only one that would ever say that would be his wife, and his wife's a pharmacist. So
yeah, exactly.
Really, also,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Did you meet in
believe it or not, though, I'm probably the
pharmacological
biggest
school?
Yeah, we met in school. No question.
Oh, cool. Well, that's. I was joking. That's great. Actually,
we really did. We met.
Oh, that's
in
awesome.
pharmacy.
The real pharmacist.
No, I'm more into actually. I am more into like botanicals and vitamins and things.
Natural health.
Yeah.
I got that a while ago.
I know, but that's what I'm into. Not just cannabis either, by the way.
Remember, pharmaceutical companies create profits, farmers create medicine.
Ooh, I like that phrase.
which actually, good segue, leads me to an article that I found that had some. The article was an audio. I'm going to start finding articles that we can listen to during the show.
That's cool.
And this is about its first pot, then magic mushrooms decriminalization is spreading. So I thought that we could listen to that as we get closer to 8 and have another song. And I just thought that maybe we could talk about shroomage. I had my dose. I'm very open about the fact that I've been microdosing. I try and keep it around 0.2, 0.3. Even 0.5 is too much for me, I find. I'm not much into the woo part of it. I make that sound when I use mushrooms. But anyways, there's lots going on with mushrooms. Do you think that we're going to have a shot at being able to use them like a supplement?
I think so.
That was a long
they
fucking
can
question.
find a way that
Sorry.
they can profit off of it.
Well, there's a few people.
If they can't profit off it, then like if it isn't it's set up as a business, supplying them with licensed producers, then that's probably not going to happen.
How illegal is it right now?
What?
Is it like at the low end of the fucking totem pole?
I would think so.
I think it's up there the same as where cannabis was, wasn't it? I don't know. Hang on. I'll go look.
Google.
No. Canley. CDSA.
That's a personal problem, Drew. You should go get that checked. You could ask Lenny maybe when you see him on Monday about that. Maybe he has some ointment for that issue.
For what?
Cutting in and out. Drew keeps cutting in and out, so I'm telling him that maybe he should speak to you about an ointment for that.
Oh, jeez. Drew Barry.
They're going to look at the stats tomorrow, and it's all going to be from fucking Nova Scotia.
Well, I think we earned her tonight, though. 5 years, 6 months, and what did Darcy? 21 days.
Schedule 3.
Yes, 21 days.
So what is the Schedule 3? Is that cannabis as well? Not anymore.
Not anymore.
But it was, right?
What else is Schedule 3?
Methylphenidate. Ethylphenidate. Isopropylphenidate.
I'm noticing a theme.
Yeah, they're slurring, and it has to do with alcohol.
Methaqualone, LSD.
Really? Now is type 3? Is that the lower end of the totem pole?
Psilocybin, mescaline, fentanyl.
That's not fentanyl.
No.
Right? Okay.
Now, as much as their Schedule 3, is there a difference in the criminal code as far as what charges one would acquire?
Okay, yes. But explain what Schedule 3 is, please, because Schedule 1 is cannabis, right? And like cocaine and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find.
Maybe you
where
can
they
find
have
a chart.
the schedules.
There's a chart.
Well, they
somewhere.
don't have a. I've never seen a chart. But Schedule 1, see, so Schedule 1, 2, 3. So Schedule 3 is all of those drugs.
So what's 2?
Schedule 2's back here. Table of contents. Schedule 2 drugs are synthetic cannabinoid receptor type 1 agonists, such as nabilone.
I was about to say that's nabilone.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I did that for about 5 years just because I didn't have a steady source.
Any substance that has a 3,1 naphthoyl pyrrole structure.
Half those things don't even exist anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mostly chemical concoctions that probably aren't used at all anymore. Because I think even navalone's not even being used anymore. But that's the Schedule 2.
I stopped using it for a while.
Schedule 1 has under Section 1 is the opium poppy. That's opium, codeine, morphine.
That's going to be them all.
That's all of those. Hydrocodone, oxycodone. And then Section 2 is cocoa, so that's cocoa leaves, cocaine. So you can't even have the leaves. 3 is...
Say hello to my little friend. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. 3 is phenylpiperidines. That's like your benzos and stuff.
And here's the funny part. There's going to be people, some who are listening will know exactly what you're talking about. It's just like, whoo.
Yeah. Morphines. Benzocaines. Yeah, cannabis is no longer there. So, it doesn't show a change to it. So, we saw Schedule 3. What's Schedule 4 drugs? It goes right...
How many schedules are there?
9.
Wow. What's Schedule 9? And ants? Ground up ants? Powder?
Hey, Marcel.
Oh, no. 9. This is a shitty one.
What's up, Darcy?
9 is Manual, semi-automatic, or fully automatic
Darcy's
device.
trying to tell you something, Marcel.
What?
I was going to ask him to message his friendly little short person that he met that's good at licensing and ask her. I bet you she knows all them things.
Oh, what? All those drugs?
No, all the schedules.
Oh yeah, but it's the drugs and the schedules. But Schedule 9 is new. And it's a manual, semi-automatic, or fully automatic device that may be used to compact or mold powdered, granular, semi-solid material to produce coherent solid tablets. Or a manual, semi-automatic, or fully automatic device that may be used to fill capsules with any powdered, granular, semi-solid, or liquid material, which means that any person at home that makes their own cannabis and has one of those little
capsule machines?
Quick fill capsule machines, that is now illegal under Section 9 of the CDSA.
So are there, what is it, Rundown 8? You might as well. There's some weird shit there. Why?
You're packing garlic into it. That's all you use it for is garlic. Right?
No, but why would that be illegal?
Why? Because they were trying to cut down the illegal trade of pills being made, such as ecstasy tablets, things like that.
And fake shit and that, right?
Yeah. Copycats, even fake dilaudits and everything.
Yeah, I hear Mexico's really good for that.
Anywhere's good for it. I mean, anybody could do it. That's the problem.
I mean the dark web stuff. Getting whatever you want out of Mexico.
Oh,
didn't we have this? Didn't we have this conversation last week? Don't do pills or white powders.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. From Lenny the pharmacist, public service announcement.
That's right.
There you go.
Yeah, unless the powder is a whole plant cannabis extract that's been turned into a powder. You can eat that. Don't snort it, but you can eat that.
I was going to ask you that. Now, I know that somewhere down the line in your testing, okay, some doofus stuck it up their nose.
They didn't tell me.
They didn't tell us.
They didn't.
Nope.
Well, I'm telling you. No, I'm kidding. Hey,
Okay,
I've got one right here.
did you?
I've got one right here. No, I will.
What?
Oh, well, don't do it.
No, I'm kidding, but I do have some right here.
Yeah, but
now,
don't
no,
snort
I wouldn't. But some doofus is going to try eventually, right?
Bet it hurts. I bet it doesn't do anything for him either, but I bet it hurts.
Why would it? Okay,
it's not the finest powder in the world, that cannabis powder.
No. You
sucking
think
diamonds through a straw.
Yeah, you think snorting coke is harsh on you without cutting it up. You try snorting some cannabis crystals.
From the now I can say that in the 80s, been there, done that. Drew has asked why can't I snort it?
Because it will hurt your little delicate nose.
And then you'll have to go back.
Ouch.
Then you'll have to go back to the emergency room.
Back to the emergency room.
All right. I'm going to give Drew a little explanation here.
Okay.
He's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Right.
Unlike cocaine, which is a granular, you're not going to inhale that because it's going to destroy your lungs. However, cannabis you can actually smoke and still get that pretty quick high. So there's really no need to snort it. Like that inhalation process is pretty damn fast. So you're just wasting your time, and it's going to destroy your nose and nasal cavity, and it's going to hurt like a bugger. So
it's going to
no
hurt.
Real sense. But that's the difference. Cocaine you really can't inhale. You're just going to
it gets trapped in your nose.
Yeah, but that's the only way to get it in there, aside for the IV method. But cannabis, fortunately, be it a vape or smoke or inhalation method, you can get that drug in your system fairly quickly. So I just don't see the advantage of doing inhalation through the nose, period.
Well, the thing is going through the nose is not going to be any different than going through the stomach when it comes to cannabis, because it's still basically going to be the same effect, the same as if you hold it in your mouth
Well, I was going to say that the more
oil.
reasonable thing would be to put it under your tongue, maybe.
Why?
That's probably the other option, but
that's fine if you're using an oil tincture. An alcohol tincture. But if you're using
the oils
oil
don't go
emulsion,
through that quick.
Yeah, it doesn't go through your mouth any faster.
Okay.
Right? Alcohol tincture, yeah, it'll go through quicker that way, but then you run the risk of burning your mouth out with alcohol eventually.
Oh God, no! I learned the alcohol thing way back when. I kept getting mouth sores.
But you got to realize that back in the 1900s, early 1900s.
Well, it wasn't that long ago that I tried it.
No, but all the cannabis.
Badum-dum. I need to get some badum-dums.
But yeah, back in the early 1900s, all the cannabis medicine then was alcohol tincture.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so it was quick. They'd take their tincture and go back to work, and doctors and teachers, and nobody died, and the world didn't come to an end, and then they made it illegal, and now we have to go back all over again and prove that people function perfectly well.
And we're also going to have to start working on proving that people can get their life back with psilocybin.
Well, yeah.
Because
I'm a firm believer that, especially for PTSD,
it's kicked the depression out of me.
That's what I mean. For PTSD, the vets could definitely benefit from microdosing. Psilocybin. And justifiably, if people want to kick up enough stink and start challenging the laws, then they can eventually get it approved.
So
and it should be easier to approve because it's only Schedule 3.
Let's listen to that article and another song by Stick Figure. And we'll be back. This is the 420 Radio Show. We are sitting here chatting with Lenny the pharmacist. Oh, let's.
And Debbie that we haven't heard from.
And Debbie is here.
Darcy, I think, is falling asleep.
Darcy's
I'm
into the hash.
I'm pruning plants right now while I'm talking to you guys.
And hold on, wait for it. Wait a sec. Shut the fuck up, Stephen.
Yeah, shut the fuck up, Stephen.
That's the first time tonight, Al.
Can you not hear him?
No.
Oh, got it. Oh, there he is. All right, folks, we'll be right back.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this lifestyle radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
First pot, then magic mushrooms? Decriminalization is spreading. As cannabis legalization spreads across the globe, another mind-altering drug is trying to follow in its tracks: magic mushrooms. Denver voted in May to decriminalize the fungus that contains psilocybin, a psychedelic compound popularized by 60s counterculture. Oakland, California followed Denver's lead a few weeks later, and Oregon is trying to get a similar measure on the ballot for 2020. Advocates say mushrooms have untapped medical potential that could be as big as cannabis, particularly for treating depression and addiction. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration granted breakthrough therapy status in October to Compass Pathways Limited to test the drug for treatment-resistant depression, expediting the development process. The London-based company says it's now proceeding with a large-scale clinical trial in Europe and North America. In recent years, researchers at New York University found psilocybin caused a rapid and sustained reduction in anxiety and depression in patients with life-threatening cancer. And psychiatrists at Johns Hopkins University discovered mushrooms can help people quit smoking. Another study found the psychedelic can also help with alcohol dependence. The medical and therapeutic applications are becoming incontrovertible in a world where depression is one of the most commonly diagnosed conditions, said Ronan Levy, a former executive at Aurora Cannabis Incorporated and co-founder of Toronto-based Field Trip Ventures, a startup focused on therapeutic psychedelics including mushrooms. Levy believes it's only a matter of time before others, including many former cannabis executives, realize the potential of psychedelics and start to look for investors. Interest is already starting to grow in some fields. Sanjay Singhal, the founder of audiobooks.com, is funding research into psilocybin and other psychedelics, including a planned study into microdosing at the University of Toronto's Centre for Psychedelic Studies. Nothing left. Unlike cannabis, however, research into psilocybin's medical applications is limited by the fact that the drug remains illegal virtually everywhere. Denver, for example, has made personal use and possession of mushrooms the city's lowest law enforcement priority, but selling and distributing the drug is still illegal. This has been challenging for psychotherapists like Bruce Tobin, a registered clinical counselor in Victoria, British Columbia who specializes in treatment of anxiety, depression and emotional trauma. Tobin has asked the Canadian government for what's known as a Section 56(1) exemption, which gives researchers and physicians access to substances that are prohibited under the country's Controlled Drugs and Substances Act. He believes there are about 3,000 people in Canada suffering from end-of-life distress who aren't responding to other depression treatments. This is a group for whom it's literally true that they have nothing left to lose, and our argument is that for these particular people, psilocybin counts as a reasonable medical treatment for them right now, even before advanced clinical trials have been completed, he said. Little uneasy. Tobin doesn't expect to be successful but is prepared to go to court to fight the decision, much the same way marijuana advocates did in the landmark cases that led to medical pot legalization in 2001. Although he sees the cannabis rulings as setting extremely strong legal precedents for psilocybin, he doesn't want to see mushrooms follow the same path to legalization as pot. The high from mushrooms lasts longer and can be much more intense than cannabis and sometimes accompanied by hallucinations, nausea and the risk of a bad trip. I'm a little uneasy that there are many entrepreneurs in Canada that see psilocybin as the next big thing, and I want to discourage that, Tobin said. He sees the drug as one part of an ongoing psychotherapy process that should only be done under the supervision of a specialist, and believes some people should never take psychedelics at all. I don't want this to sound too literal, but between cannabis and psychedelics, it's sort of the difference between conventional and nuclear weapons, he said. I don't see psilocybin as something that will become legal in Canada or necessarily ever should be.
Oh, there she goes, walking the same old country road. Oh, there she goes, I said you think but you don't know, no, 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 no. This may be the best thing
We are back, guys. What were you saying about Facebook?
We're talking about Facebook and how I don't use Facebook much. For me, Facebook is more I'll share the odd thing that I find funny or amusing or whatever, but it's more private messages than anything.
Facebook's for humor.
But I find it very inhumorous. I find it very needy. People are...
I'm so sick. My head hurts and I need a hug. You mean that kind of thing?
No, my father was just telling me about this the other day. I guess he watched a documentary on it or something, and it was about people that don't associate with their neighbors. They don't talk to their neighbors. They keep to themselves.
Yeah.
They might say hi, but they never really talk to their neighbors or anything. And what they're
like
finding
that.
is, what they're finding is the people that do that end up having are more likely to end up with dementia because they don't have that interaction with different people.
I understand that.
Antisocial behaviors.
Yeah. So basically,
I get that.
When you start to become an introvert, you're more likely to go fucking nuts than if you go and say hi to your neighbors and ask them how their day is and shit like that. Right?
I used to, when I lived up north, it was only 12 units in the building. But, I mean, there's 60 units here. I guess I say hi to my next door neighbors and just hello, but there's no real...
But have you ever stopped and talked to them?
Yeah. There's a few that I talk to. I talk to my super. I talk to her son, her husband, those, but and if somebody's sitting out back when I'm out back with the dog or on the bench or whatever, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to walk away from somebody just not talk to them. Well, no, sometimes I might.
See, I'm the kind of person I'll go complete stranger and start a conversation.
Well, no, I'll do that as well. In fact, I would probably more likely do that than to somebody that I know, to be honest. Did everybody leave? Get a pillow?
No.
I'm sorry. I'm still texting. Sorry.
You're still texting?
I'm getting texts too from people that
are on the show.
Are on the show, for Christ's sakes.
I'm saying, don't talk about that, Marcel. Okay, I found this list on your wall, Marcel. 40 old-fashioned skills that kids need to know.
I think that's actually very factual, that list.
It is. I'm looking at it.
I'm going to add 41. They should know how to roll a joint.
How to write a letter.
Yeah.
How to make a phone call. Take a message. How to get to know an older person.
Kids can't do this?
Most kids can't. Unless you teach them.
How to sew. I mean, do they have home ec now in schools? Because when I was in public school, we were taking home ec, learning how to cook a turkey and a roast and fucking sew. I know how to sew. I know how to use a sewing machine.
My kid took home ec, but she'll still get me to sew a button on for her.
Yeah, well, I'd get my mom to do it too. But
I learned to sew in the military.
Well, you would have had to. That's one of the things that they have to teach you in case you have to sew somebody's eye back in.
Yeah.
I disagree with how to read a map.
Why?
I disagree with how to read a map.
Lenny's looking at the list.
I'm looking at your list.
Yeah, I honestly think everybody should know how to read a map. Do you know how to read a map?
I do. I'm pretty sure Google Maps nailed it.
I am from the generation that they had shit that we were allowed to go, extracurricular shit. And like up north, we used to go to Boyd River with the school, and they would take us out. What do they call it? Using the compass and stuff. What do they call that again? Map reading.
Yeah. I used to teach map reading. But here's my question, Lenny, or basically, yeah, it's my question. You rely on Google Maps. Why do we need to read maps? What if for some unknown reason, we have a nice big solar flare and it knocks out all of the electronics, the infrastructure, the power grids, everything. How good's your Google Maps going to do you?
Silence. Do you have a nuclear bunker at your house?
No, I don't.
Looking for the worst case scenario?
But, well, I'm sorry. They trained me well. But in all cases,
I'll give
and
you a
that's
lot
the
of
way
that
I've always have been in my whole life, is I've always looked at worst case scenario, what can go wrong and what do I need to know? So I've tried to learn literally everything that I can.
Fair.
Right? So, I mean, if the zombie apocalypse
I'm still a fan
hits
of Google
tomorrow,
Maps.
I have a plan. But I'm a big fan of Google
Me
Maps.
too.
My car
McDonald's,
connects to
come
Google
back,
Maps.
turn on the TV, stay inside.
Yeah.
That's my plan.
that's your zombie apocalypse plan.
Yeah.
And don't answer the door, Al.
I'm not here.
Even if they're
So
offering.
Darcy, you referred to the little short person earlier. Who was that?
I did refer to the little short person earlier. I sure did.
Did you?
I would not call her the little short person.
Isn't she the wife of your golf partner?
Are we talking about Jen and Trevor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Hey, Jen and Trevor, if you guys are on there. Trevor's a great golfer, by the way.
Yeah,
I
sucking up
can't
now.
golf anymore. It hurts too much. Maybe you could grow me a strain, Darcy, that will help my golf swing come back, because I can't swing anymore.
Oh. Well, that's no good. See what I can do for you, though.
You're really into swinging, I guess.
Golf swinging, you ass.
Do you have a strain for the swinging people, Marcel?
Swinging people.
Yeah. Bubba Kush.
I'm gonna suggest suppositories, maybe some lube. Just depends on how swinging you want to get, I guess.
And he makes a lovely lubricant for your wife.
It also apparently makes you stutter, Darcy.
But according to Darcy, it tastes bad.
It fucking tastes terrible.
So I've just been informed that I upset someone that I mentioned Trevor was a very good golfer, but there's a certain somebody who really carried Truro Cannabis were in a scramble golf tournament this past weekend.
Stop sucking berry.
No, but there's somebody that's upset that really carried us for the first few holes, and his name would be Mr. Drew Berry. So we got to get Drew his shout out since he won't come on the air. He's a little nervous, I guess. But
the big Care Bear himself.
Exactly. But no, I will admit, Drew turned it on for the first few holes and got us going until a few of us warmed up. We still lost, so it didn't really matter, Drew. So who cares?
Yeah, you still lost. Wah, wah, wah.
And on the bright side, Drew can sew. He doesn't, but he can. Right?
So Al, when do you think mushrooms are going to be legal in Canada? Let's get serious.
You know what? If you listen to the article, I know you guys couldn't, which really sucks. But
I didn't get. Yeah, I wish.
You'll have to listen to it later. But it could fuck things up if they even want to try and mess with it. Just leave it alone. Let us do what we want. I think maybe. Drew, you're gonna get blocked out of the chat room, buddy.
What did Drew just do?
He said you're all losers.
What?
Yeah.
Pink
He
slip
said,
Monday.
We're all losers. Ha ha ha.
Cut off.
Ha ha.
Cut off, Marcel.
He's cut off.
No, he didn't say I was a loser. He said you guys were losers. Dude, don't worry about it.
No. Hold on. How do you fit? How do you come up with that? All does not include you
in
Marcel?
Because he says it's in golf.
Yeah.
I wasn't playing golf. Were you?
Oh, well, I wasn't playing golf either. Sorry, Joe.
No. No. It's only.
You're okay.
He just says that. The delay's hard for him to comment. Yeah, because the delay sucks. I understand that.
Hey, Darcy.
Yes,
Do your growing thing.
I am doing my growing thing right now.
We'll talk about it.
Oh, well, I'm cleaning out my plants.
Yeah. Why?
And I'm cleaning them all up because I just got some new nutrients for them to try, and it's working fucking fantastic.
So while you're doing that, do you have a little segment for us?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, are you talking about growing tonight?
Well, I am now.
Oh, what are you going to talk? What are you going to talk about?
Hello.
Just in case I have questions.
I know what you want me to talk about, Marcel.
I'm going to sit here and smoke this joint and listen with Lenny. Will you hold my hand, Lenny?
Maybe we should talk
Sure,
about.
I'm virtually holding your hand out.
Okay, thank you, buddy.
All
Since
right.
we're not really going to get it. I was all excited to talk about mushrooms tonight, but I guess that's not happening.
No, we can go back to the mushrooms
We
here.
can go back to the mushrooms. I just wanted to get Darcy out of the way because otherwise he whines that I forget about him.
Oh, here we go.
All right, Darcy.
So the poor little guy in the wheelchair stopped crying.
Pretty much.
Wah.
See, I just threw it off. See, now I can't use that at work.
All right, Darcy. Here's your topic.
Yes.
You so sounded from the Trailer Park Boys, or Darcy. I'm sorry. He's dead.
All right, you ready?
Yes, Marcel.
Okay, here it is.
Here it is.
I'm a new grower. I started my plants indoors.
Yes.
And I want to grow them outdoors.
Yes.
All of the forms say that I have to harden them before I put them out.
Do you want to know what hardening means?
What does it mean, and how do I do it?
Well, what hardening means is putting them outside for short amount of period every day to get them used to the outdoor climate, because the outdoor climate is not as ideal as the indoor climate, and inside, as most people know, when you grow indoors, it's sunny every day. Every day in there is perfect. It's sunny. It's between 75 and 80 degrees. The humidity level is perfect. Everything is perfect. You don't get that outdoors. I'm sorry. In our climate, where we live at, down on the East Coast, you don't get that. If you live in California, I'm jealous of you.
Still don't get that.
You guys, no, but I'm jealous of them because they got a climate where they can grow a lot longer than we can. They have a 10-month grow season down there where we don't.
Right.
So, the way to finish hardening your clones off, like I was, or your seed plants, however you grow, is to put them outdoors every day for a little bit every day, and then over a period of a week or so, you'll get them used to the outdoors, and then you'll start leaving them overnight.
Okay, so a little bit, like 10 minutes?
No, at first a couple hours. 2 or 3 hours would be all right. Some people may want to do it longer. You want to make sure you're not going to kill your plants. Do it that way, and be careful where you sit them too, because you got to remember outdoors. There's a lot of pests around outside. So you don't want to bring them back indoors with you. So a good pest management program in place first is always a good thing. Biologicals are your best route. So if you put biologicals in your plant when you sit them indoors, or then when you take them back, let me phrase that. When they're outdoors, and then when you bring them back indoors, if there's anything there, then biologicals are going to look after that for you.
Cool.
So then after a while, what I do with mine was when I grow out in the woods, and what I mean the woods is I mean up by my mom's house, it is in the woods. But where my legal outdoor garden is, when I put my clones outside, I stick a brush around them, so sun peeks in a little bit over time, and then after a week or so, then plants are going to grow through that brush, and then I know to take them off. Right? It's just another way to harden them. It keeps them away from the elements. But
Cool.
but they are out in the elements. If you understand what I'm saying. So it's kind of like putting you in a tent or in a greenhouse outdoors. Except for there's no plastic wrapped around here.
Right.
So
you're not creating your own heat.
No, you're not creating your own heat. Everything can still escape if it wants to.
Yeah.
These things are growing as I'm talking to you guys.
Well, that
they
See?
are. Like, I just picked all these leaves off these plants, and now I look back over them again. I'm like, holy fuck, it doesn't even look like
There's more leaves already, man.
Well, I got I picked a 5-gallon bucket, and I'm just like,
Are you microdosing too, Darcy?
No, I'm not. I never even got into the ice cream yet. I was going to get into ice cream.
Al?
Now,
Yes, sir.
Is there somebody on the chat room, Al?
Yes.
2 people.
A couple of people, yeah.
One of them might be the little short person.
One's named Shorty902.
Yes.
And
That's
one
awesome.
is Cool Mind, who is a guest, and
And-
Shorty902.
And Barry,
sounds-
Drew,
and
keeps
Drewberry
coming
just came
in.
back.
Yeah, he keeps coming in and out. He's having a hard time.
So is that
actually,
now 2 for lunch on Monday?
I think it might be. If Shorty902 is who I think it is, then Shorty902 gets a free lunch from Lenny on Monday. But Lenny conveniently has decided that he's not going to be there Monday, so they're going to get lunch on Tuesday.
I'm so sick of people
Fair
who
enough.
say one thing and do another.
You know what? Lenny never actually said he was buying lunch. I'm pretty sure it was one of you 3 or 4.
Yeah, possibly one of
I
them.
think it was
Lenny's
Marcel.
willing.
Yeah.
It's possibly one of them people.
I will be going.
But
there
it
is an
was
instant replay, Marcel.
probably more likely you, Marcel.
Yeah.
There, you got me back. I'm
But
choking to death.
Shorty902, I think, is trying to get onto Skype if she can.
Oh, cool.
If you guys if she can figure it out.
Well, she's a smart person.
She is a very smart person.
That's why she's our licensing person.
Yes.
Okay, there's a very long delay because she says "me too, Al," and I have no idea what else.
I forget to. I was like, what did I say? I'm sorry.
Oh, God.
Well, put it away, Drew, because we don't want to see it, all right?
Now, Drew, I believe, may be down at his cottage, and maybe that's why he keeps going in and out.
Did you even catch that, Marcel?
No.
He said, I'm
Sure.
just hanging out here, so I told him to put it away.
Oh, yeah. Leave.
Skype. You can either look up Lifestyle Radio or one of these charming gentlemen who have you on their Skype will bring you in.
Ah, okay.
Oh,
So might not
okay.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Like
Try,
what?
try and swing that back at me. Yeah, thanks.
People who don't do what they say they're going to do.
Yes, that's true.
Somebody's a very loud roller.
Now everybody was silent now.
I didn't do it.
It's Marcel. I
No,
know.
it's not. I'm a quiet roller. I rolled one. I've half smoked it, man.
I just
Well,
packed the phone.
we'll see if it lets me add her if she calls.
I've got requests on my phone from people that may be in this same conversation with me that has me looking through my computer for stuff.
Huh?
I'm trying to add Lenny, but it's not letting me add him. But I've got your father here. Should we call him?
No, don't call Dad.
Wait, let's
Trust
call
me,
my
nobody-
mom. Let's call somebody's mom.
Nobody wants. Nobody wants.
You want me to
listen
call
that.
my mom? My mom
Yeah,
would love to talk
sure.
to you guys.
All right, bring her in.
But she's on. But all the way I can call her is with my cell phone.
Yeah. No.
She don't have Skype because she lives in the middle of nowhere.
No, it's okay.
In the land where I honed all my skills.
Maybe next time.
Yes, maybe next time.
So, Deb.
Yes.
You were being awful quiet there.
Now and then I am.
Can we talk about what you were doing last week?
Sure.
First off, I'd just like to say that she's my hero, and then now she's going to tell you why.
Thanks, Darcy. Well, actually, there was proposed cutting on 4 parcels of land, relatively small parcels from a Crown land perspective here in Nova Scotia that they were preparing to go in and cut. These parcels of land are near and dear in that they're basically in my backyard. It's a multi-aged forest with many old-growth trees in there. In fact, some that were taken out already were at least 120 years old. The county of Annapolis put a request forward to the provincial government that they would assume management of this piece of forest and manage it in such a way that it was being done ecologically and wanted to create a forest ripe for climate change. So basically, I think they were looking at going in and doing some forestry the old-fashioned way, in the middle of winter with horses or oxen and pulling out trees. But the province refused them. Even though the county was prepared to pay any of the monies that might be owing to the forestry company who were set to go in and do the cutting. So they had announced that they were going to go in on June the 9th, I believe it is, the Sunday, and begin setting up and commence cutting. And through Extinction Rebellion in Annapolis County, a protest was organized for that Sunday that drew in at least 50 people from 2 hours away and better. Then we began an encampment that night, in that there were at least 3 people there 24/7. Many nights there were 6 and 7 people there, because we felt that if they were going to come in during that time period, it would be in the wee hours of the morning. But that didn't happen. And while we were there, throughout the whole week, there were a number of biologists, bird nest experts, botanists, birders going in and looking for migratory birds, because there's something called the Migratory Bird Convention Act that's federal legislation, and it's done in concert with the United States and Mexico, and it's an agreement that migratory birds will be protected. Not only the birds, but their nests, their eggs, what have you. And of course, migratory birds have landed in Nova Scotia for the summer. And I doubt that there's many parcels of land that don't have migratory birds on them. So late Thursday afternoon of last week, one of the biologists, a well-known birder in Nova Scotia who's written at least 7 books on birds, and it was probably his 5th go at looking through the forest to find bird nests, and his wife happened to find the nest of a magnolia warbler. And with that knowledge, they went to the media. They notified Environment Canada, who actually had an open file on that parcel of land. By Friday morning, they were on CBC Information Morning talking about the Migratory Bird Convention Act and the ramifications, and the fact that foresters could be fined if it was found that they were cutting trees that had migratory birds and nests in them. And it was roughly 6 hours later that Minister Rankin, who's in charge of lands and forestry, announced that the harvesting of those trees were going to be put on hold until they could go in and better investigate what was actually there for species. So everything's on hold for the time being. We took the encampment down on Saturday, right after we held a nature walk that brought in a number of people from around the province to have a look at that magnificent piece of forest. And now we're just sitting back and figuring out where to go from here in an effort to try to preserve those parcels of land and any similar to them here in Nova Scotia, because Lands and Forestry have a horrendous track record of going in, cutting down trees, and then going, whoops, maybe we shouldn't have done that, or somebody will say, good Lord, look at what you've done. It's old growth forest. You shouldn't be doing that. But once it's gone, and it's too late. And here in Nova Scotia, we only have 1% of old growth forest remaining, so anything that's really close to becoming considered old growth should be protected at this point. So that's what I was up to last week.
That's kind of disgusting, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the road that I live on, and I'm roughly 10 minutes outside of town. It used to be beautifully forested from one end to the other, and now it's just rack and ruin and massive destruction everywhere. Absolutely. This is CBC described it quite nicely as a bit of forest with a sea of clear cuts surrounding it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just horrendous what they're doing here in this province as far as forestry is concerned.
Wow.
Find any moose?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised, Marcel. We've heard the odd moose from our property coming from that general direction.
Yeah.
Natural Resources in Nova Scotia says that there's only like 50 to 75 mainland moose left in the mainland, and I think that numbers are way wrong. I think there's more than that.
I think those numbers are probably very accurate, in all honesty, because if they're clear cutting as much as they did, because the majority of the mainland moose were down in that area.
Well, you know what? When Lands and Forestry did their surveys, they didn't survey this end of the province conveniently, and this end of the province is where most of the older trees remain.
Yeah.
So, I wonder why they haven't surveyed this end of the province. Because they don't want to find things that are there that might interfere with their flow of cutting down the trees and sending them off to the mills to create biomass.
But Debbie,
send them to Europe to create biomass.
But that also goes for all their spraying that they do too. They don't want to test people's well in the country by they spray behind their house, even though they're not allowed to spray that stuff within a half a mile of any home. They still do right up tight to your property line, and then you wonder why 5-10 years down the road everybody's dying of cancer. But yet, when you go try to get your water tested, they say no, we can't test it until Health Canada or until the province of Nova Scotia allows us to test it for that chemical. I think that's a hypocrisy, man. That shouldn't be allowed.
Absolutely, you should be able to have it tested to find out if there's pesticides and chemicals in it.
I can almost guarantee you that there's glyphosate in my mother's drinking water. I know.
Yeah, it's pretty scary, and they've been spraying this in this province since the mid '80s, I believe.
Well, as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
I know. Go to pick berries, Debbie, and you can't pick berries because there's a sign there that says "Eat berries at your own risk." But do you think the birds can read them signs?
Yeah, it's highly doubtful.
Yeah, you think the deer can read them signs and say "Don't eat them bushes"?
Yeah,
no, they don't care about that stuff. All they care about is that dollar and cutting down our forest, and it's sickening. And I'm like I said, I'm finally glad that someone stood up to them, Debbie, and said enough's enough.
Well, I've been still checking in on that property every few days because they had posted that they were about to go in, so it kind of gave us the heads up to get organized and be prepared for them, and it was an awesome trial run. Now we know just how to do it.
That's good. I'm glad you do. Now more people around this province need to figure that out and start protecting their forests.
Well, for sure. And in fact, there's a meeting coming up in Truro, I believe, on Tuesday, where they're looking at some of the findings from the Leahy report. And Leahy is a professor in Nova Scotia who did an extensive report on forestry that it was recommended that the province pick up and run with. But, they're not going to do that in a hurry. They're talking of maybe next year, but there's supposed to be a meeting in Truro to look at the recommendations, and all of the stakeholders who submitted information to the report have been invited. So I'll be curious to see what Lands and Forestry do with it. But
nothing.
There's an Annapolis Royal Environment and Ecology group in conjunction with Annapolis County Extinction Rebellion have pulled together our own 2-page report that we're releasing to the media of some of the things that we feel they should look at doing immediately, like ending clear cutting, for instance, reconsidering what they feel may be old growth forest for another one, and strongly advocating for community consultation with First Nations, with people who live in the community where they're going to do the proposed cuts to see what people really think, because a lot of people use Crown land for recreational purposes.
Well, it's your land, is it not? You pay the taxes for it.
Well, yeah, certainly. Yeah, it should be considered more our land. And when
that's why they say you can hunt and fish it whenever you want, because Crown land, you can do what you want. Well, thank you. I can build a camp on Crown land if I want to, and they don't care. You go to them, you ask them for a 99-year lease, they give it to you, and everybody's happy.
Well, and I wonder how much of those they're handing out these days.
I haven't heard of too many lately, but I know my great uncle has a camp on one piece of property that is Crown land, and the only reason that the camp is still standing is because it's on Crown land. But the 4 other camps that we had around that area all got bulldozed down by Northern Pulp because they didn't want the camps on their property, even though they weren't hurting anything. There was no junk piles. There was no garbage left around. They just didn't want it on their property because it was in the way of them 6 trees that were behind you.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. My nephew owns what was once a family hunting camp back in the woods not far from here. And I happened to bump into him last week, and they've clear cut up to the perimeters on all 4 sides of this piece of property, and basically they've mowed down in the ballpark of 2,000 acres out there.
Wow. Yeah, see that's sickening.
Well, It's beyond frustrating. You hear people complaining about bear turning up in their backyard, trying to get into their compost bins and everything else, and deer running down the middle of streets everywhere. And here we are busily destroying their homes.
That's not the problem in Truro. The problem in Truro is all the deer live in the park, but they don't stay in the park. So the deer are all over the town. And they can't get rid of the deer.
But if you take a drive from Truro and just take a 10-minute drive outside of Truro, out like Camden, Greenfield, Harmony, that's in the woods. There's no trees there now because it's just flat.
Oh, I know, but
deer out there. There's no deer out there. They're all in here now.
But if you drive out to Trans-Canada towards Amherst and you go out, start hitting Oxford and places like that, the deer look totally different there than they do in Truro.
Oh, of course they do.
They look really healthy out in Oxford. I wouldn't touch the deer in Truro. They don't look well.
Well, of course they don't. You got to realize what they're eating in here, whatever they can get.
Yeah, everybody's lawn.
Yeah, my garden.
Yeah.
So
pretty much everything.
A couple of years ago, I was driving to town, and a deer ran across the road in front of me in an area where they were clear cutting, and I'll never forget the absolute look of horror on that deer's face, and she was busily looking over her shoulder, and it was like she couldn't wait to get the hell away from the feller buncher and all of the racket in the forest and the devastation. It was certainly a very telling image of what the animals must experience.
Well, it'd be the same way as when a hurricane comes along, Debbie, and takes your house away from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're devastated.
I know a few years ago when I was living up north there, I was going home from Hamilton actually, and I hit a huge skunk, and it actually looked at me. I saw its eyes looking at me right before I hit the damn thing, and there was nothing I could do. But now that's all I see now is those eyes.
Did you peer into it? Did you peer into the soul of the skunk?
It was just like, oh fuck!
He was probably thanking you for putting him out of his misery.
Wow.
Because he's being poisoned by our environment.
Maybe.
So I'm going to put us back on the cannabis topic now.
Darcy might have to make a strain called skunk soul.
Yeah.
Skunk soul.
That sounds like a challenge.
Al Skunk Soul.
Al Skunk Soul. Yeah,
hi, my name is Al Skunksoul. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Welcome to the 420 radio show.
Yes.
Skunk Soul.
If I can patch in Shorty, do you want me to try?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm gonna try it.
And while he's doing that, I'm going to let you
I don't
know
know if it worked or not.
about a dispensary that's been busted in Owen Sound, Port Elgin, and Hanover. So 3 dispensaries.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Busted
sure.
today.
Yeah, I moved from there, and there's a fucking dispensary. Right. Okay.
Well,
Are
guess
you there, Jen?
somebody's got TV on.
Oh, turn your TV down, Jen.
No,
There's-
somebody's listening to the show.
Yeah, no, I just turned everything off. You guys shouldn't have any kickback now, I don't think.
All right, good. No, Al, the dispensaries were selling illicit CBD products.
Yeah, I know exactly which place they're talking about, too.
Yeah. So they busted the dispensaries, $30,000 worth of alleged CBD products.
Wow.
$7,400 in cash and computers and point of sale terminals, and charged 4 of them. And the news release notes that CBD can legally be purchased and sold from properly licensed entities, including the Ontario Cannabis Store. Regulated CBD can also be legally possessed as long as the quantity of CBD and other cannabis products falls within the parameters of the Act. There is a common misconception that CBD derived from hemp is legal, where in fact CBD is regulated no matter its source. And this is what I've been trying to tell people for a long time.
I guess they told us, huh?
But it's nothing that I haven't been saying for years. that
Did you read that?
CBD is just as illegal as THC.
Yep.
Did you read that in your regulations, Jen?
Yes, Marcel, we have a regulations expert on the phone.
Yes.
Yes, Marcel, you are correct.
Ding, 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 ding.
Jen, you'll find over time that I try to make sure that I'm correct before I open my mouth.
You know what, Marcel? I have already learned that about you, and I appreciate that very much.
No sense in wasting time with wrong information.
Absolutely.
But yeah, everybody seems to think that CBD is perfectly legal. When it's not, it's still treated the same as any other cannabis product.
Absolutely, and I think
fake
a good
news.
example of that, if you want to look right in the regs to see that, when they talk about, for example, all of the elements that must be present on a label for a cannabis packaging, whether that's dried flower, whether that's oil, or otherwise, basically you have to put the total THC and the total CBD. They require both, absolutely. So in the minds of the regulations, they are treated the same.
Right.
Currently. Now, I mean, down the road with more research and more data and, more clinical trials, perhaps that may change, but currently that is the way it is. Yes.
Here's the one that gets me when I was going over the regulations today with Jennifer. You can purchase, if you're a hemp supplier or have a hemp license, you can sell your seed, your stock, your root, or your fiber to anyone. Which I found, which was funny, because you can sell somebody the seed, but they need a license to grow that seed. So it's kind of a double standard. Here, you can buy it, but you can't grow it.
Right. I mean, because technically, if you were just dealing with seed and seed only, you could perhaps be operating as just a seed bank and not really cultivating anything. I guess it would really depend on the business model and the activities that they want to do. You have to remember too that, a lot of these things have to be looked at on a case-by-case basis.
Which is true.
And you know what? Like, the regulations are great, and they're there to give guidance as well, and keep everybody accountable and in compliance and consistent. But there are gray areas, as we know. There are areas of interpretation, and so it's always, I feel anyway, it's always best to treat all of these as on a case-by-case basis.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, Lenny, you want to talk about mushrooms?
Yes, I was going to say, let's talk about mushrooms. We got 15 minutes left.
Hey, Jen, what are the regulations on mushrooms?
Wow, you know what? One thing I will say is when I don't know the answer to something, I certainly will not pretend that I do. So I do not have any current information on that, but I can certainly look into it for you.
See, I think she's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And ditto.
Yeah, Lenny, let's talk about mushrooms and how awesome mushrooms are.
Well, I didn't necessarily say that. I'm just curious where
I'm just saying that
go.
they're awesome. I'm all for them.
Are they difficult to cultivate?
How many cities or states have legalized it or decriminalized
One.
it?
One.
Just the one? I thought more have applied.
Here's a question.
Others have applied, but
a mushroom question. Is it true or false that psilocybin and other mushrooms are actually, in fact, not illegal until they are dry?
That is true, Al.
Ah.
And I'm going to jump on that and say that real quick because I was reading that somewhere in a medical or in a medical documentation somewhere, and that was what they said is you can grow them, You can grow them out. You can harvest them wet and eat them wet, but once they're dry, they're illegal.
Okay, so this in turn adds to my next question. Are they as potent or more potent not dried?
Marcel? He's Googling what I just said.
I'm
No,
no
I'm not.
expert, but you'd have to think it must be more potent when dry. If they're
When
making a
dried, it'd be
distinction.
more. It's more concentrated because you've removed all of the moisture, and the mushrooms contain upwards to 80% moisture.
Okay.
So, but I mean, as kids, we used to eat them in the fields, pick and eat at the same time.
And it does the same thing pretty much.
Yeah, it gives you a good day.
Yeah.
But no, I think the dried ones are actually a little stronger.
But it is in fact the dry part of it. When they are dry, then they are in fact a Schedule what?
Well, Schedule 3, but
Schedule 3. Okay.
But Schedule 3 doesn't differentiate between dry or wet. It just says psilocybin.
Yeah.
Do you know that psilocybin is legal down in Brazil?
Oh, is it?
The country of Brazil, psilocybin is legal. It's ambiguous, partly legal, and decriminalized in Canada.
It's what?
It's
I don't believe
ambiguous,
so.
partly legal, decriminalized.
I don't know
Partly
about that.
legal, yes, because it's used medically. Decriminalized, probably because it's only a Schedule 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what?
I don't know if
Okay,
that's
so
true.
I'm walking down the street, and I got some mushrooms on me, and a cop says, "Hey, come here, you. I know you got mushrooms on you. Come here." And then what would the charge be?
I don't know. Do you know what we got to ask Jack these questions?
We need to get Jack on the show, but he's really busy. I haven't even heard from him for a while.
Yeah, I know, but I think we'd need a lawyer to answer these questions.
Or a cop. A retired cop.
I'd go with the lawyer. Nothing.
I would go with the
the
lawyer
police
because
department.
the cop doesn't necessarily have a
Knows
say
the
in what
actual laws.
sentences are,
Fair enough.
right?
How about a judge?
Well, you can get a judge on, but basically it's more or less a random question of what's the sentence for Section 3 from the CDSA,
exactly.
right? So what are you looking at if you get caught with psilocybin or LSD?
Well, if you're a lawyer in Canada and you know the answer to that question, please let us know.
Yeah, tell us. Don't charge us for the answer. Just tell us.
I do think, Darcy, you're misinformed, though. I believe it is a crime.
I'm just reading to you what I read.
If it's on the internet, it's true. Come on, Darcy.
Even George Washington doesn't lie on the internet, right?
No.
Yes.
No.
Darcy, I'm just trying to protect you in case someone's getting charged with carrying LSD or psilocybin and they come after you.
I'm not telling them to carry it. I'm just telling them to go
Well,
research.
you're kind of insinuating they're not going to get in trouble for it.
No, sorry. Do not carry psilocybin mushrooms or LSD.
Yes, probably a good answer.
I might as well eat these that I got right here, then just destroy the evidence.
And if you got some, destroy the evidence.
All right, give me a minute.
Thank God the show's almost over.
No, but I was more curious how I think it will become decriminalized and fully illegal at some point, but I'm just trying to figure out what it's going to take and how long. I see 3 or 4 years personally.
Can a pharmacist, can a doctor prescribe, and can you get them through a pharmacy?
Probably not, unless there's a possibility going through a special access program through Health Canada. I've never gone through the process for psilocybin, but there probably is a way to do so.
I remember in the article he said that it was a Section 56I, I think he said.
Okay, I really can't recall, but there is something in Health Canada for special access to medicate certain drugs. For example, there's an old drug out there, Cisapride, that they used to use for people's stomach. Worked great, except you get the wrong antibiotic with you, you kind of drop dead. So it was kind of removed from the market. But it is the only drug that works.
That wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah, but you can get that
it's
drug.
kind of dropping dead. I could see why.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of unfortunate. Your stomach's feeling great, and you get a sinus infection, and then shit.
Next.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of unfortunate.
Well, you know what,
Oh, wow.
Lenny?
Wow.
I would really like to do a show on psilocybin. So I'm going to find some people who know that shit.
Hey, Al.
I thought
Yo.
you were doing a show on psilocybin, Al. Didn't
No.
you take some before the show?
I did. But
You're doing a show on psilocybin then.
You're funny, lady.
God knows I try.
Yeah.
Hey,
I know.
do you know that on the RCMP there's a thing there on magic mushrooms and everything, and they tell you there's a thing down here for the youth. It says if you are asked if someone is asking you to try drugs, you can make up an excuse that you need to go, or that you have something to do tomorrow, or you don't want to feel like garbage.
Excuse me, I'll be right back.
Respond that real friends don't make you do things you don't want to do.
Give me that. I'm going to use it instead.
Refer to the health issues that refer to a health issue might worsen, like asthma or bronchitis. So they want you to fake that you got asthma.
Now, Darcy, I got to stop you right there. I am really anti peer pressure. Like, I felt like I'm getting peer pressure for buying lunch on Monday.
Okay.
I have issues with this type of peer pressure. It's not right.
But I gotta say, as the regulatory person, it's not right, but it is legal. So
So bullying is now okay?
No.
As long as it's a free lunch?
no one said you're being bullied. Come on.
I feel like I'm being bullied.
God, you guys aren't even open yet, and look what's going on.
I feel like I'm being bullied. Listen to you.
Oh.
Well, you did bring up the peer pressure.
But if you're being bullied, then maybe if Kim's listening, she should call in.
Oh, Kim.
Yes. And Jen's gonna get drugged to the office on Monday.
Yeah.
You're getting drugged at the office, did you say? Jen's getting drugged
Marcel.
at the office?
He doesn't work there.
That's what he said.
Marcel was doing the peer pressure.
Yeah.
Peer pressure. So, has anybody got any, rounded out things that they want to see at the end there? Talk about? Say? I've forgotten what I was trying to say now.
I mean, do we want to plug anything in now?
Yeah, we're almost done. Yeah.
Lenny?
No, just 5 years, 6 months, 21 days. Took Truro to get a cultivation license, and for the Truro team members on the radio, or if they hear this later, thank you very much to everyone.
Yeah, that's what I like to say, Lenny.
You're all very patient people.
And congratulations, finally.
Yes, congratulations. What took you?
There was lots of ups. There was lots of downs. There was some
It's not a fucking drama TV show, dude. It's a radio show.
I know.
Actually, Al, I wish we could have filmed this because this was a goddamn drama.
Should have done it as a documentary.
We can always make a movie someday. It's all good.
Yeah, movie. Hey, Marcel.
Easy there, guys. Slow down.
Marcel knew who I was throwing a shot at when I said a movie. Hey, Marcel.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll move on.
We can do a movie later.
Yes.
I'd like to make a request. I'd like Seth Rogen to play me.
You're going to be in
Lenny
the
would,
movie?
Lenny would love that.
I love Seth Rogen.
Do you?
He's partnered up with the wrong LP. No offense, Seth Rogen, if you're listening to this someday. But someday you're going to join us.
Well, now you guys get to go out and find your celebrity.
We don't
There
want
you
any
go.
celebrities.
We don't want a celebrity.
Actually, I don't even know if we
but
can
I want,
with the regulations.
We're our own celebrity, Al.
I was just
Oh,
going to
there
say
you
that we don't really need a celebrity. Our product speaks for itself. Right?
Yes.
Ooh, that's pretty
for the
pretty heavy
movie, though.
words there, lady. Pretty
For the
heavy
movie.
words. For the movie.
For the movie, we need
Oh,
a
for the
celebrity.
movie.
I want Sam Elliott to play me.
Sam Elliott? No, I'm thinking more like Richard Dreyfuss.
No, I'm thinking of Red from the '70s show. Dumbass.
On that
Richard
note,
Dreyfuss?
let's say goodnight. On that note,
I'd like to have his money.
you know, I've watched 2 movies with him in it, new movies with him in it. In one, he played an old spy, and in the other, a drunk, a bar drunk.
Oh, really? And which was he better at?
I don't know. I fell asleep through both.
That's not a good plug for his movies.
Yeah.
Right.
I like Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah, you fall asleep during his movies.
And do
There's
you
a
often fall asleep during movies, Al?
Yeah, you know, the first movie that I fell asleep in a theater was a movie by Chuck Norris called Delta Force 3.
Yeah, that wasn't that great.
No, I fell asleep.
I fell asleep during the original Star Wars in a theater.
Did you really?
Cold. 10 minutes in, out cold.
But did you like it? And have you seen it?
It was an amazing sleep. I loved every minute of it.
I
woke up very rested at the end of the movie. Yep.
I fell asleep.
Lenny might take offense to that.
Lenny's really going to take offense to this. I actually saw the first Star Wars movie about 2 years ago when I finally decided I might as well see what all the hype was about if it was really worth it. And it wasn't.
It's totally worth it. Stop that.
Sorry, it wasn't. I wasn't a fan back then, and I'm not been a fan now. I just can't get into it.
They're filler
with me,
movies
it was
for me.
nothing personal against Star Wars. I'm like Al. I fall asleep during most movies.
If it grabs my attention and if I got a sativa, I'm good.
I just got a text. Drew Barry's our celebrity for Churro Cannabis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
were
he's going to be the celebrity?
Were you in a movie, Drew? I was.
I've been in a movie.
Weren't we all in movies? Debbie was. I was.
So I think you guys should wait 2 or 3 weeks and then get Brent on, because you don't want to make it sound like this is the Churro Cannabis Lifestyle Radio Show.
Yeah, that's true.
It's turning
You should
into
wait
that,
a few
though.
more. You should
We should talk somebody else next week.
Yeah, well, let's
should wait.
yeah.
Let's put it off road. Any other licensed producers want to come on the show and tell us how great you are? Let us know.
Yeah, well, you know, they've been sending pitches so that I maybe could make that happen, buddy.
Well, see, here's the thing: is they can't advertise.
No, but they can come and talk about their product.
But they can do interviews.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just reach out to any one of them and see if they want to come on.
Well, the next time I get an invite for an interview, then I will follow through.
You don't have to wait for an invite. You can invite them.
You just did.
You don't have to invite Canopy. You can just invite some gentleman that works at Canopy.
Well, you know, we've had John Fowler on the show.
Yeah.
So we've had so that's what that's 7
Let's get
acres.
Chuck Raffici on.
Okay, I don't know him, but so do you?
No, Lenny, you know Chuck, don't you?
No, I've only talked on the conference call. I don't know him personally. I've kind of learned I don't really want to know.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like,
Anyways, let's wrap it up,
Probably
guys.
The wrong choice because we'd have a lot of people calling in on that show.
This is a good
calling
show.
in or dialing out.
Dialing in,
Yeah,
or like
that's true.
hang up, click. Anyways, we be out of here, folks. We will be back next week with dunno, but we'll be here. We're being
Get a hold of
consistent.
Doog Tools guys, see if they whatever happened to them.
Yeah, they never came. Yeah. All right, we're out of here. Good night, Deb. Thank you very much. Lenny, always a pleasure. And you two dorks, we'll talk to you guys next week.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Oh, and Jen.
And Jen's there too.
Jen, I'm sorry. I forgot about you. I'm sorry. We don't usually have.
Forget about Shorty 902. Come on.
I couldn't see over the lip over my window here.
That's okay.
And
what?
And what?
No, go ahead.
No, there's nothing left. I'm just going to
nothing left.
click
We were
this
saying
button.
goodbye.
And now you said "and," which you kept us going.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, and
Legacy
goodbye.
420 has medicinal and recreational products down to a science, literally. With 2 biochemists on staff and a chief scientific advisor, every product is tested in the Legacy 420 laboratory. Legacy 420, Tyndanaga. Open 9 to 9 every day. Visit legacy420.com.
So what are you doing? Nothing. Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.